So then who's gotten the idea of Halo?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking you. Oh no, Brandon!
I met God.
So how does Halo connect to the Bible? So shout out to Torchbound. They left a comment on one of our other videos saying, it would be cool to see if you can get anything interesting from the Halo games. As we've learned, they are all secretly about the Bible. So before making this video, I'd heard about different ways that Halo's connected to the Bible, ways that you might already know about, but apparently it goes way deeper than that kind of stuff. But before I get into it, I figured I'd ask someone who's playing Halo, how does Halo connect to the Bible?
Wait, don't go. Don't jump. Don't jump. It'll teleport you, I think. Okay, so can you tell me how Halo...
Okay, so like the ring, right? Is that like how like there's supposed to be a second coming? And like, is that the world getting purged?
Is that like the second coming, what, of like Jesus?
Jesus, yeah, because like the whole world is like under chaos and stuff. Like they have like rings that go over like a planet and essentially erase all life that's on it.
Okay. Oh, and
Yeah.
you're saying that like that would be like the second coming of Jesus, because it would be
Yeah.
like erasing
A purge
everything.
of, like,
yeah, like a
yeah.
purge of what life is right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be that. Oh.
So there's some different ways that Christians look at the second coming of Jesus, but they all kind of point to the eradication of sin. In Halo, some people would consider that the flood represent sin. But, you know, what is sin? Super quick definition that doesn't fully cover it. Sin is the desire to not live God's way. I'm trying to keep the video pushing, so I'm not going to fully define it right here. So with sin, at least in the Old Testament of the Bible, it wasn't something that you could permanently hold off. You could get forgiveness temporarily by doing a sacrifice or something like that. Whereas in Halo, the flood, you can't permanently hold them off. They keep on coming and coming and coming, just like sin does. But then when Jesus sacrifices himself, sin is defeated in that way. He is the ultimate sacrifice, different than all these animals and stuff that have been sacrificed before. And then in Halo, we have, spoilers, Master Chief sacrifices himself at the end of the third game.
This isn't good.
The flood is eradicated. Sin is defeated, the flood are defeated. Now the sacrifice that Jesus makes, I'm talking about, isn't the second coming. But I think that the ending of Halo more alludes to that than the second coming. Because what happens when Jesus is on the cross, just before he dies, he says, "It is finished." And Master Chief, after he activates the Halo, he does his sacrifice. Just before he goes into cryo sleep, him and Cortana are talking and he says,
"It's finished."
Cortana says it as well.
It's finished.
It's kind of emphasized in that point. But what we're talking about is the second time the Halo rings are activated, and the first time is kind of more like Noah from the Bible. If you don't know Noah from the Bible, here's a quick recap. God sees the downward spiral of humanity and the sin that people are doing, so he says,
Yeah, it's rewind time.
and decides he's going to send a flood to kill all living things. But before doing so, he tells a guy named Noah, who he liked a lot, to make an ark, a ship, to house every kind of animal, where he then sends the flood. Everything dies except for Noah and everyone and everything on the ark. And afterwards, God makes a promise, but more specifically in the Bible, they call it a covenant, that he will never again send a flood to destroy all things. The flood, the covenant, the ark, bada boom, bada bing, everything's in there. So back to Halo, the covenant in the game are determined to activate Halo, which in turn would kill all the flood, thus fulfilling the covenant, the promise of never again shall the flood destroy all. But also it's deeper than that. In the Bible, there's this thing called the Ark of the Covenant. It's kind of an important thing. It has the 10 Commandments in it, if you know what those are. And what happens is people are carrying this Ark of the Covenant around a place called Jericho. They circle around the place 7 times, 7 circles. And then the walls fall. It does some destruction. And then going back to Halo, there are 7 Halo rings. There were 12, but there's only 7 now. The 7 Halo rings plus the Ark, that are all needed for the destruction of all living things. Ark destroying things, another ark destroying things, circling 7 times, 7 halo rings. I think it's a thing. Like, the things aren't always a coincidence. Maybe they are, you know. Maybe this whole video, maybe I should have made this whole video. Side note, the number 7 is like super significant in the Bible, so if you see it come up a bunch in Halo, it's probably connected. And I mean, all this is before we even get into Master Chief being John 117, which definitely connects to the Bible.